Hi, I'm Johnny Lieberman with MotorTrend, and I'm here doing my first big boy car test. Actually, not that. These two. We have the Porsche 911 Turbo and the Corvette ZR1. So, in addition to our instrumented testing and also doing hot laps with Justin Bell, we're here at Mojave Spaceport where we're going to really beat on these cars. Seeing as how they're kind of a little bit more super than your average supercar, we're going to do a standing mile where the car should get up to about 180 miles an hour, maybe a little bit more. So let's see what happens. The 2011 Porsche 911 Turbo makes 500 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque from its twin-turbocharged 3.8-liter flat-six engine. All this power goes through a 6-speed manual transmission and then to all four wheels. The 2011 Corvette ZR1, on the other hand, makes 638 horsepower, 604 pound-feet of torque from its supercharged 6.2-liter V8. All that mojo goes through a 6-speed manual transmission, but then only to the rear wheels. Let's see who beats up who in our performance tests. Okay, yesterday we saw how the two cars did with our acceleration numbers and our figure eight. Today we're at Big Willow, the racetrack, and we've brought in a 24-hour Le Mans winner and GT2 world champ, Justin Bell, and he's going to be our hot foot and see how these cars do on a racetrack.
Well, yeah, thanks. I have to say I've come into this with a few preconceptions. I think for me, you know, the 911 is so close to the cars they race now, and like American Le Mans stuff. I think the sort of DNA is right there. And of course, in the old days, the 911 used to scare the Jesus out of you. And the Corvette, I would presume, is the most balanced. And although this one's got this monster engine, and
now you used to race Corvettes, right?
I did for the factory in 2000. And you know, it's very different though when you're in a purpose-built race car, and you know everything's around you. And it's all nice and safe. I think when you get a car with this much horsepower and all the electronic aids, and it turns into a different thing. So I'm kind of interested to see. Maybe my preconceptions aren't quite as good as I think.
Okay, so let's just cut to the chase. Around Big Willow, which one's going to be faster?
I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you in a couple of hours' time, but I actually think the Porsche will be better in the mid-corner sort of situation. I think the Corvette, maybe on the whole, will be faster.
A little bit faster in the Vet.
Yeah. It depends, doesn't it? It depends how much I scare myself.
You heard it here. Let's see what happens.
So here we are. I'm starting my first lap in the Corvette ZR1, and I just feel like I've been strapped to the latest American missile. Bloody hell. It is quick. Turning into the first corner, you have a slight feeling that you're on top of the car rather than inside the car, but that actually goes away once you get the sort of weight set in the car at a neutral platform. But I will have to criticize this. The seats were better in a 1965 Ford Galaxy drum brake stock car that I drove last week, because they are obviously built for a driver with more childbearing hips than me. Up into the tight section here, I've got that active handling system set to full on 5, which gives me the most leniency, if you like, the most race-like conditions, and I think it's spectacular. Very nice gearbox. They've really done a great job with that. And here's the test of things over this brow. And it really does, you can feel the torque come in now into what I consider one of the hardest corners in North America. The long right-hander, nice balance. It rides that bump there very well. Back on the power, full power. this is very difficult because you're kind of braking down, trying to shift while all the weight's all a kilter. Does it nicely. Onto the last corner, full throttle. I mean, 638 horsepower as I cross the line, 143 miles an hour. Boom! Big carbon brakes. All I got to say is that Corvette had better get themselves a new pair of underpants because they just got a bigger set of balls. As I come up the start line in the 911 Turbo, immediately the whole vibe of the car is much more actually sympathetic to the driver at first glance. Turning into the first corner here, great, because you really feel you can drive through the corner. As the turbo comes in, the torque hits you right at the right moment. Over the little brow here, into the long, fast right-hander. I have to tell you, I am working a little bit harder with the wheel than I was in the ZR1, trying to keep the line, keep the pace up, mid-corner speed. But as soon as you get to exit again, it really works. The other thing is, the way the gearing is on the 911 is I'm having to change gear an awful lot more. Hit fourth about 3 times, whereas I don't have to do that in the ZR1. It's almost as though that was perfectly geared by accident for Willow. The brakes, of course, are not carbon on this, so they give up a fraction as I get on them, but in terms of pliability and allowing you to balance the car, they're spot on. Going into the long, fast right-hander, there's a bump here in the middle. I'm interested to feel it. And, oh yeah, I don't quite like that as much in this car. I don't think it's going anywhere. It just kind of scares the crap out of you. Whoa. Okay, coming up to the last corner. Through it, power on. Again, you have to snatch fourth right where you don't want to. But what a car. Porsche 911's been around since the beginning of time, it seems, and just gets better and better. What a bloody quick motor.
We're here on the surface of the sun, also known as Big Willow, with Le Mans winner Justin Bell, who's just driven the Porsche 911 Turbo and the Corvette ZR1 back to back. He doesn't know how he's done yet, but before we get to that, we're gonna ask him what he thinks of these cars. So, let's start with the Porsche.
I was as excited by it as I anticipated, because I think if you like 911s, all of us were growing up with them. You know, my dad was a Porsche factory driver for years, so 911s were kind of part of the family. I was interested to know how it would handle on the high-speed corners here, because that is the weakness of most cars on this track. But it really made you feel like you were in the car, you know, the way you could drive through the corner rather than like on top of it wondering what was happening. And so there were points that car was really good, but there were also points that it let me down a bit.
And what point for those?
Over the bump in the high-speed right-hander, and you know, you're in fourth, should be in fifth, but you don't want to kind of go that high, and you'll just go over the brow and you're like, oh, okay, I need to do that a few more times before I get the confidence up. But right. That's really the only place. And obviously it has that 911 understeer to the mid corner, and then boom, it comes out. I mean, we were running with no systems on it, you know, really.
Yeah.
It was in sport mode on the suspension. So I mean, really, for a car au naturel, it's incredible. And the seats are fantastic. Porsche make you as a driver feel pretty darn good.
Right. Unlike, say, the Corvette.
Yeah, well, I thought what American car was it that had that bench seat across the front? And you could
Many.
fit like 3 people? Many.
Most.
Well, that's what I felt. I felt like, whoa, okay, I'm over here 1 minute, I'm over here the next. And
so the seats aren't so good in the Vet.
The seats aren't. I mean, really, you know.
Okay, but what about the Vet? Oh, besides the seats, how'd the ZR1 do?
Initially, I went out and I thought, wow, it's rather like I just strapped this massive rocket between my legs and I'm going to hold on. And then I really started to understand its nuances. And what I played with most was between the system in off mode, and it has that variable traction assist, which I've just been talking with the engineers. It does everything. I had it in the setting number 5,
right?
Which
That's
I guess is the
hardcore.
The hardcore.
Yeah.
If you work with it, the intervention is so small. It actually made me better, I believe, around here. You'll tell me.
Right. Well, I will tell him in a minute.
It made me feel better, and I think the power. I mean, that raw power from that, and of course, it really directs a lot of noise at you as the driver, so you feel cool. I mean, your hair's a bit longer, your chest's a bit bigger. I mean, it makes you feel pretty good for an American car.
Okay. So, which one do you think you were actually faster in?
I will go against my first preconception, because I really underestimated, I think, the raw power and the carbon brakes as well. I have to mention that carbon versus steel. That, you know, literally, you felt like you needed race seat belts when you hit it in the Corvette. For sure, I was faster in the Corvette.
Okay, well.
See if I've got any sensitivity.
All right, your best time in the 911 Turbo was 1 minute 33 seconds, .31. So 133.31. Your best time with everything off in the Corvette was 1 minute 30.11. And with the performance traction management in 5, you did it 129.69. So you're about half a second faster with the system on than you were with everything turned off.
Wow, this is a sign of age for you. You need assistance to perform these days.
That's pretty incredible.
It is incredible. I mean, up that uphill left there, I was able to. It stepped out a little bit, but I'm flat to the floor. If you do it too early, you're sideways, and then it intervenes and says, you know, go home. But it's brilliant. That is surprising compared to my preconceptions, but my feeling in the car was that why turn it off?
Right.
That would be my point.
Right. Okay, there you have it. Not only was a Corvette faster than a Porsche 911 around a racetrack, but with the traction management software engaged, a pro driver was actually faster than with all the nannies turned off. So anyways, Justin, we'd like to thank you a million. That was fantastic driving. And we're going to now take it out to Mojave and see how they do at real high speeds. Well, that was interesting. We learned that the Porsche was better on the drag strip and that the Corvette is better around a road course. Who knew? Anyways, here we are back at the Mojave Spaceport, and these cars are going to get put through their paces. Standing mile, where the car should get up to about 180 miles an hour, maybe a little bit more. So let's see what happens. You might be asking yourself, why is the Porsche sitting back there with its hood up? Reason is, it broke. Both turbos failed and it was unable to complete its standing mile. That said, let's take this time to recap this reversal of fortune comparison test. The Porsche Turbo, as it turned out, was the king of the drag strip. Not only beating the Corvette by 3.5 car lengths, but it was able to go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds flat, the third fastest car we've ever tested here at MotorTrend. The Corvette ZR1, on the other hand, absolutely trounced the Porsche on a racetrack, which surprised all of us. And it was also able to go 177 miles per hour in standing mile, which is very, very fast. So, the winner of this one, by virtue of technical knockout, is the Corvette ZR1.